Baek Yerin is a great talent among South Korea's growing industry of all things musical. Surprisingly, I didn't even discover her music until around 2019, when I stumbled on her live rendition of See You Again, a pop-rock song not afraid to stray from the norms of K-pop synthesis with a colorful guitar ballad in drums, bringing my expectations to the foot of the mountain of music written by this witty, thoughtful artist. So, who is Yerin? Well, the singer-songwriter was born in the Jung district of Daejeon, South Korea in 1997. Yerin was greatly influenced by music of the decades, particularly by musician Amy Winehouse, whom she admired for her strong sense of vocalization and presence, as well as the styling in her music. In 2007, at the age of 10, Yerin was featured on the SBS variety show Amazing Contest Star King, finishing second place to 2PM's Jang Woo-young. So at this point, she was already getting introduced to South Korea's music industry, which at the time included popular groups like SNSD Girls' Generation, Brown Eyed Girls, and Big Bang. Becoming a trainee at JYP Entertainment, Yerin struck up a friendship with fellow trainee Park Jimin, who she would eventually duo with. They would eat meals and sing songs together and hang out and do stuff friends do. So it's safe to say that at this point, Yerin's life took a completely different turn than most. She studied at a private school in New York where her family ended up moving, and during her time played the piano, wrote songs, and was praised for her skills in the English language, as well as her expressive vocals. It seems to me that she had a positive upbringing, which really must have helped in encouraging her to move forward with her dreams. So, between training and living life in both South Korea and the US, Yerin gained experience over the next 5 years. Musically, she has said that it was her father who originally introduced her to pop, and JYP himself who was the one who showed her rock. Along with her routines of walking and listening to music, Yerin also absorbed sound through watching films, drawing inspiration from the soundtracks that captivated her. Admittedly, she's a huge Harry Potter fan as well. So, skipping forward a little bit, finally, on September 27th, 2012, JYP Entertainment announced 15 And, a duo between Yerin and Park Jimin. Now, Yerin has said she was relieved when she heard it was a duo rather than a full girl group, which I understand as things can get sticky at times between competing members and overbearing media attention, not to mention all the controversies. So, 15 And is really where the general public saw Yerin Baek emerge as well as Park Jimin. The two girls pushed their vocals to a signature recognizability, and though they were only high school age at the time, the industry was quick to give them a fresh reception. In fact, that's pretty much where the name came from. 15 And stood for 15 as their age, and the ampersand alluded to the future success beyond age 15. Now, October 7th arrived with 15 And's first single, I Dream, which garnered critical attention among K-pop fans of the early 2010s and soared the two out of obscurity and into the spotlight. In addition to on-air play, the duo performed at several middle schools in South Korea to get further attention. They poured their efforts into additional songs over the next few years, releasing Somebody, Can't Hide It, and their first and only full album, Sugar, in May of 2014. After this, their last single, Love Is Madness, was released in February of 2015 before Yerin refocused her efforts on a solo act and 15 And went on hiatus. Knowing her drive and passion, it didn't take long for her to pursue more writing. On November 30th, 2015, she released her debut album, Frank, a strong contender on her massive list of achievements. Frank is a beautifully mellow but breezy album which dances between R&B, indie jazz, and pop in a way that makes the crossover nuanced, and the songs feel fresh and extremely pleasant to listen to. This is a great album. I'd have to say it's one of the best solo debuts I've heard, period. Following a very productive 2015 calendar year, in February of 2016, Yerin graduated college alongside her friend Park Jimin and GOT7's Kim Yoo-kyung. That year, she released the beautiful and dreamy Bye Bye My Blue in an EP of the same name, as well as Love You on Christmas. Now, at this point, I have to acknowledge one of my favorite things about Yerin's music, and that is the diversity of her genres. In other words, most popular Korean acts I've heard have settled within a few genres here and there. Maybe they cover R&B, hip-hop and rap, or pop, drama, and indie, for example. Where Yerin really shows her skill is just in the raw scale of music she's become a part of. And with that, we plunge into the year 2018, my friends, and cue The Volunteers. The Volunteers is a grunge hard rock band formed by Yerin and artist/producer Cloud, a member of the band Bye Bye Badman, and former member of Cheese. Oh, also go check out the other member, Luli Lee, because she's amazing. Although they didn't become official until 2021 because of their solo careers, the Volunteers had several unofficial YouTube and SoundCloud releases, beginning with Violet in 2018, and many others which I'll cover later in this video. So, I think it's safe to say things were speeding up for Yerin. And then arrived 2019, a brilliant year in terms of music. In this year, Yerin released Our Love Is Great and Every Letter I Sent You. Our Love Is Great takes the dreamy atmosphere of Frank and elevates it to new levels with songs like Maybe It's Not Our Fault, See You Again, and the title track, Our Love Is Great. And of course, I still would put this as some of my favorite Korean music by her because for me, it broke the conventions of what big publisher Korean industry music could be to me. It really had a soul. It was not formula driven, but it felt like every thread of it was woven, from the smooth instrumentation to the lyrics which housed themselves beautifully into the overall experience. It was and is an amazing album. Unfortunately, it also was an amazing album with a limited edition CD release, which I missed. And as of the making of this video, the only way to listen is to stream it. So if you want the disc, like me, patience will be a virtue. But as all things come to an end, so did Yerin's contract with JYP Entertainment that year. In her words, she cited her reasons for leaving the label to form her own, stating, "I had to keep getting confirmation from the company every step, and those times were hard for me to wait." With Yerin, of course she wrote what she was inspired to write, not what people told her to. So on September 13th, the announcement was made that Yerin would be leaving to form her own independent label, Blue Vinyl. Her friend and colleague Park Jimin had also left JYP a month earlier, so the news would officially end the 15-and hiatus and give Yerin the freedom she needed to keep writing on her own. On November 6th, 2019, Blue Vinyl launched. So at this stage, with a growing fan base, myself included, Yerin got to work, releasing a single, one of my favorite songs of hers, Popo, How Deep Is Your Love, on November 22nd, 2019. This and 17 other songs were included on her second full solo album, Every Letter I Sent You, released on December 10th of that year. So, Every Letter I Sent You. I wanted to talk about this one for a moment, or, yeah, let's be honest, a few moments. It really has to be one of, if not the most diverse albums I've heard from almost any artist, and it's just so well executed. It begins with soft jazz and classic-style R&B with intro, rest, and Popo, before transitioning into a soft indie approach with Can I Be You, 0310, and others. Then it takes a turn with Bunny towards soft pop and continues that track, hopping between other influences of jazz and rock as it goes. Finally, Square appears near the end, a song that peaked the Korean charts and solidified Yerin's popular presence in the K-pop world. This album, generous in its large song booklet, is a great introduction album for anyone who really wants to see what she can do on an album. It's got almost everything you could want. And on that note, let's move on to 2020. Yes, we've all heard it, 2020 sucked, did it not? It did. But one thing that didn't suck was the releases that year. We started with Turn On That Blue Vinyl, a great jazz-infused concert that Yerin and her label held, generously uploaded on YouTube in HD for viewers who couldn't be there. I've watched it quite a few times myself. For vinyl fans, Blue Vinyl issued a limited and normal edition LP of Every Letter I Sent You as well, that sold out in the summertime. I personally couldn't get my hands on the limited edition pressing, most couldn't, but I did happen to get a couple copies of the normal editions, one of which I reviewed in an earlier video. To abbreviate that review, I said it sounded exquisite, and others thought so as well. The Every Letter I Sent You LP has since sold over 15,000 copies, and unfortunately is being sold at ridiculous dividends nowadays by unscrupulous resellers online. But I'm sure in the future Blue Vinyl will be coming out with more to cap the prices. Since then, Yerin has been making more music. On December 10th, 2020, exactly a year since Every Letter I Sent You released, she came out with Tell Us About Yourself, a great addition to her library of songs. It takes a different approach, being much more uniform in theme and style. The songs all adopt a popish atmosphere that's really catchy, and honestly, it's really grown on me over time. I personally love Home Sweet Home, Love Game, and I'll Be Your Family. So, with 2020 wrapped up and Yerin looking to do more releases soon, it was decided that 2021 would be a good time to regroup the Volunteers for their first official album, sensibly named The Volunteers. This new album was a combination of previous songs and a few new ones to add to the mix. 10 total were agreed upon, with new, never-before-heard songs like Let Me Go and Pink Top, alongside a strong singles list that had been building over the past few years. For me, the Volunteers' debut album is my running album, my motivation and getting into the game kind of album. It's different, not your typical image of Yerin, whatever that may be. It's a bit more raw and a bit more unfiltered. But it's energized and fun, and it makes me want to buy a convertible and throw down the soft top while I sing the lyrics riding through winding roads in the spring, summer, and fall. To me, it's an open season album, and one that makes me want to crank up the stereo, get up and go. It's not for everyone, I realize, but personally, I really love it. So now, if I were standing in the music store, looking through albums, and I picked one of hers up before someone looked at me and asked, "Who is Yerin Baek?" what would I say? Well, my friends, that is something I think I can answer now. Yerin is the jack of all trades, the fresh air in a sea of formula-driven industry music that, while great, doesn't always have the soul or heart that each one of her songs is crafted with. When you listen to her music, it can be fun, happy, sad, romantic, nostalgic, dancey, silly, or motivational. But the point is this: I genuinely think there's something for everyone in the world of Yerin Baek's music. All you have to do is press play. Everyone, thanks so much for listening to this long and meandering journey through one of my favorite Korean artists. Let me know down in the comments below if you've ever seen her in concert, what songs are your favorite, and recommendations you might have for future listening. I'd love to hear. If you want to check out my vinyl reviews or my other videos, links in the description. But as always, have a great day and happy listening.